Super Rugby round 5. We've got another couple of derby games on this Friday. So it's a New Zealand clash followed up by an Aussie clash. Interesting games for different reasons, and I'll get to that in a minute. So we start off with the Chiefs hosting the Canes. And it's been a pretty poor start to the season for the Chiefs. No wins from 4. Is about as bad as it gets. I don't know what's gone wrong with them. I know they got a lot of guys out, but you'd still back the Chiefs to be doing better than they currently are. None from 4. As a Blues fan, I feel sympathy. Part of me is kind of, in a sad way, kind of pleased that the Blues are not the bottom team in New Zealand, but I'd rather that be the case because the Blues are playing well rather than the Chiefs are playing poorly. Got the Chiefs gear on today. I figure I will show them some love. But that being said, the Canes are coming to town and they seem to be getting things right. They are 3 wins and the 1 loss. Both teams, one of their losses, or the only Canes loss, and one of the Chiefs' losses came down in Christchurch to the Crusaders. You kind of don't blame teams when they go down to Christchurch and get beaten, but it was the way the Chiefs got beaten that was so disappointing for them last week. So, yeah, let's hope they can improve. The Canes, as I said, seem to be on kind of a better run. They were lackluster in the opening week, and they had a loss, and now they seem to be finding some form. So let's hope that's true. I'm kind of torn because I'm a neutral for this one. I'd like to see the Chiefs pull their season on track, but also it's a joy to see the Canes playing some attacking rugby and Laumapi in glorious form. Perinara pushing Aaron Smith for that All Black spot. So there's lots to like about this game. In terms of the teams, the big talking point for the Chiefs is the fact that D-Mac is back at 15. A lot of people have been calling for him to be shifted out of that 10 jersey. Not that impressed with his start to the season there. So yeah, he's back at 15. It's his brother Marty who fills in the 10 jersey this week, so Brad Weber's inside him. So it's D-Mac at fullback, which kind of makes sense because Ale Malo is out with a concussion from that last week's game, which is disappointing because that guy only just come back, and he was one of the Chiefs' star players from last season. So yeah, Wainui's on the wing, and Moakiola is on the other wing. ALB and Tamua Manu are in the midfield. Ardron switches to 8 because Allardyce is back in the second row, so he's alongside Brodie Retallick, who is captaining Laulala, Harris and Ross in the front row. The back 3, like I said, Ardron at 8, Karpik at 7, and Mitch Brown at 6. It's a good-looking team. They should be able to do better than they have been showing us thus far. Nana Satoro is relegated to the bench this week. Triple T is on the bench. Ta'avau's on the bench. Talani Siu is on the bench. So, in a lot of areas, there's a fair bit of depth. So, yeah, they should be doing better. Maybe switching D-Mac to 15 will give him a little bit less pressure, a bit more space, and we'll see some of that magic from him. Debrasini is not considered for this one because he's ill. I guess he's another guy who could have filled in at 10 if needs be. For the Canes, Chase Tiatia is still at fullback, so it means we've got Geordie Barrett still out on the right wing. Proctor and Laumapi in the midfield. That's been a useful combination. Wes Husson is on the other wing. Bowden Barrett and TJ Perinara continue on. Artie Savia, who's probably been the most effective looking of the Canes forwards so far this season. Karifi, Princep, Fafita, Blackwell. Yes, very nice. Ben May, Dane Coles and Toby Smith. Asafa Amor is on the bench alongside Fidel. Bedwell Curtis looks like he might get his Canes. I think it's his debut. So, yeah, there's still questions about the Canes forward pack without a doubt. Their backs have been lighting it up. At times I've been more impressed by the Canes forwards than I thought I might have been, especially their second rowers, because I thought they were lacking a bit there at the start of the season. But I'm still not sure if they'll go into this one and get on top of those Chiefs forwards. I mean, on paper, I would have thought the Chiefs have the advantage in that area, but this season's been anything but kind of standard in the way a lot of these results have gone. So, Yeah, apparently the Canes haven't had a win in Hamilton in about 12 years. So history is on the Chiefs' side, but recent form is not. So it's kind of a clash of history and present coming together to see which one is going to kind of hold true. But either way, let's hope for a good game. The Canes by 7 is what the bookies have got, which is probably the best odds the Canes have had going down to Hamilton, or for them it's up to Hamilton, in quite a while. So, yeah, fingers crossed for a good game. The next one is the Brumbies hosting the Waratahs. The Brumbies are another one in kind of an awkward position this year, and that they've had a fairly poor start. They're only 1 out of 4, which is it's still better than none, but yeah, the season hasn't been quite panning out. A couple of disappointing losses to the Rebels, especially that one last week where they threw away a fairly winning position. They weren't able to go for the full 80, and the Rebels were able to capitalise. The Tars have had a bye in there, so it's still hard to see where they're at. They also, to me, don't look quite the real deal, but they've been mixing around combinations there too, so it's actually good this week that there's a bit of stability. I think there's only one change in their lineup, so perhaps we'll get a glimpse into where the Tars really are on their trip to Canberra. So for the Brumbies, it's no David Pocock this week is probably the biggest name missing off the team sheet, because he is essentially the biggest name in that Brumbies lineup. He had some kind of injury in the last week's game, and yeah, the coaches basically decided that they're not gonna risk him yet. It's his calf, so they had a fitness camp in January, the Wallabies players, and his calf hasn't quite been 100% since that time. So the Brumbies are saying, let's just get him right before we rush him back. And this is despite the fact that they're only 1 win. So you'd think at 1 win, we need to get back into the season now. Let's play our best players, even if they've got a few niggling injuries. But the coach, I suppose, is looking at the season as a whole and saying, we can probably get back into it. And to be fair, their 1 win, from memory, came without David Pocock. So maybe they will be able to lift kind of without the added pressure of having that big star player in the lineup. Also, Alan Alalatoa is not there as well. He's had a wrist injury bothering him too. So Les Macon gets a start for the Brumbies. It's Fainga, Macon, and Seo in the front row, so it's still pretty useful looking. I do like Rory Arnold and Sam Carter in the second row, although I haven't, at least from last week, I don't remember Sam Carter really impressing that much, so I hope to see a bit more from him. Valtini, Cusack, and McCaffrey make up that back row, which, despite Pocock's absence, is actually still very useful. Like, McCaffrey is a really good player who doesn't get his credit. Valtini's coming along nicely. Cusack's got a bit of gas. I mean, he's got big shoes to fill at number 7, but he's still very useful. Paolo Liliafano, yep, that's good. Kurudrani's back. Did he play last week? I can't remember. Henry Spate, Tom Banks. So it's a very useful looking team. For the Waratahs, the only change they've made is on the wing, because Curtis Rona, don't know what he's done wrong, but he's not in the squad whatsoever, and he scored a try last week too, which was pretty useful. So yeah, it's Newsom on the left wing. Folau continues on the right. They've still got Kurtley Beale at fullback, which I'm not a huge fan of. I'd rather see Folau there, but Darryl Gibson's got his reasons. So yeah, it's a very settled lineup. Gordon, Foley, Johnson Holmes, who's been impressive, Fitzpatrick, Kepu, yeah, Simmons and Hannigan. Kind of crowd favourites. But yeah, with Hooper there, they may be able to get a bit of dominance at the breakdown. But then again, like I said, that Brumbies back row is also very useful. So the battle between Hannigan, Hooper, and Dempsey up against Valtini, Cusack, and McCaffrey will be an interesting one. But it's a hard one to call, because the Brumbies haven't been great. They've had that one good win. The Waratahs, as I said, don't look the real deal, and the bookies' odds reflect that. This one is at evens. I believe the Tars on the head-to-head have got slightly favourite odds to them, but in terms of a point start, it is absolutely even. So nothing between these teams, I suppose. The home advantage is what perhaps evens out a little bit of that form advantage that the Tars have got. But again, it's only just one more win, given that they've had a bye. So yeah, those are the two games. Looking forward to those. You guys let me know your thoughts on these ones. How do you think they are going to go? Who are you picking in the Super Brew? Do you go the Canes and the Tars to get 2 away wins? Last week was all about the home teams. We'll see if the away teams have any better luck this week. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.